Everyone, welcome to the show. If I don't seem like myself, as you guys know, or most of you know, had a hellish week with one of our dogs. I will explain in another video what is all going on with that because I don't want to break down right here. So I have updates to share about some of Donald Trump's most well-known coup clowns that I think you're going to be interested in. So first up is news about My Lumpy Pillow Man, Mike Lindell. As you all know, Lindell held a contest at his so-called cyber symposium a couple years ago. He offered at that symposium to pay someone $5 million if they could prove him wrong about election fraud. So a computer engineer named Robert Zeidman took him up on the offer. And this guy was a two-time Trump voter, by the way. And he did, in fact, prove Mike wrong. As you all know, Lindell has been fighting this ever since, that paying this $5 million. He's refusing to pay, even though he keeps losing in court. Well, he's now lost his most recent attorney in this case. Two other attorneys, you might remember, they quit back in March. And in a June 4th order, the judge said that he was notified by email that Lindell's latest attorney has told the court, quote, he can no longer serve as lead counsel for respondent. Don't know if this is a financial issue. As we all know, Lindell has been having financial issues. But the judge doesn't sound happy about all of this because he's already had to reschedule a hearing in this case. It was supposed to be in May, and then they rescheduled it for late July, and now they're probably going to have to reschedule again if Lindell can't find new counsel by then. And as the judge explained in his ruling, because My Pillow, the corporation, is named as a party to the case, they have to have an attorney appear on the corporation's behalf because he said a business entity cannot represent itself. So we'll see. Lindell can maybe find another attorney stupid enough to take the case. I will let you know. In the meantime, Lindell went and spoke at the Turning Point Action event. And he told the crowd he's figured out, quote unquote, God's plan. God's plan for Election Day. Because, you know, God doesn't have anything else to worry about. Nothing else on his plate other than the election of a convicted felon, proven sexual assaulter who lies, cheats, and steals. So here's Lindell's plan. He told the audience he is deputizing them to order mail-in ballots and then to go to a polling place on Election Day and ask if they can vote in person. And then when, according to Lindell, the polling site tells them, oh, you've already voted, because he assumes, you know, this is going to happen with everybody. Then he told them, I want you to take your ballot outside, take a picture of it, and then send it into my website. So he has this website set up. I think I've mentioned it before. He calls it the Election Crimes Bureau. Anyway, Lindell says that this is going to be evidence that there is mass election fraud because so many people are going to have this experience. I mean, what could go wrong with this, right? It's not like Trump supporters have lied about their ballots being stolen in the past or that they lied about a deceased family member having their ballot stolen, right? Sure, it'll all work out. Sure, he won't get hundreds and thousands of bogus claims. Anyway, next is news about America's defendant. Rudy Giuliani is trying to prevent the bankruptcy judge from appointing a trustee to babysit his finances. So you might recall I mentioned, I think it was last week, this was requested by his creditors because they feel like he's jerking them around. So Giuliani's attorney went before the judge and he said, oh, my client is not lying about anything or hiding anything. But the judge argued Giuliani doesn't need to lie or hide anything in order for a trustee to be appointed. He said, quote, gross mismanagement is also cause enough to appoint a trustee. And so then they had a bit more back and forth, and then the judge eventually told Giuliani's attorneys the, quote, record in this case suggests that I should be extremely concerned. And he referred to Giuliani's failure to comply with court orders as, quote, highly problematic. And then he warned the attorneys, quote, "There are reasons to be very concerned here. I'm not going to beat a dead horse." And the judge said, "I'll see you again July 10th." Basically dismissed them. Presumably, that's when he's going to make a decision about this trustee issue. So, not looking good for America's defendant. And speaking of which, Giuliani was secretly recorded, and he appears to have admitted that he had a relationship with his podcast co-host, Maria Ryan. Now, the reason this is important, this is not just fodder for gossip, is because Giuliani paid off some of her credit cards. And so his creditors are questioning these payments. And they've referred to her as his girlfriend in their court documents. They're like, oh, he's basically paying his girlfriend's bills. Now, Giuliani says, no, this is an employee. But they're questioning, is this a girlfriend or these personal expenses? And the creditors have accused Maria Ryan of helping Giuliani hide some of his assets from them. Now, Ryan denies having a romantic relationship. As I said, Giuliani does as well. But in the recording, Giuliani was heard saying, quote, "She loves me, but she can't leave her family, including her husband." So these recordings were made by Giuliani's then assistant, Noelle Dunphy. I've mentioned her before. She is also suing Giuliani for sexual harassment and for failure to pay her salary. So, whoops, sounds like they got him on tape. Next is news about former Trump advisor Stephen Bannon. As you all know, Sloppy Steve is scheduled to begin his 4-month prison sentence very soon on July 1st. And he said, be happy to do it. No problem. I'm going to go in and do my time. Have no problem sitting behind bars till the end of October. Yeah, well, he may have been lying. I know that's shocking to hear. So today, Friday, Bannon's attorneys threw a Hail Mary pass. They submitted a request to the Supreme Court, and they're asking the Supreme Court to suspend his prison term until he has exhausted all of his appeals regarding the initial conviction. They wrote in part, quote, "There is no dispute that Mr. Bannon is not likely to flee or pose a danger to the safety of any other person or the community if released. Indeed, he has been out on release for years now without incident, and his crime," which they put in quote, "was nonviolent, nor is there any claim that his continued pursuit of an appeal is for the purpose of delay." It's very obvious, though, he is trying to delay until at least November, until Trump's potential victory, right? And then he can be granted another pass for his crimes. Make no mistake, 3-shirt Steve, he is terrified of prison. So we'll see what the Supreme Court has to say about that. But, they already rejected basically an identical request from Trump's former trade advisor, Peter Navarro. So it's unlikely they're even going to take it up. We'll see. Time's a ticking. And yeah, he does not want to go to prison. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. When I hear more, I will let you know. Take care. Love you all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you possibly can. Thanks again.